Hello, everyone. Satsang Astrology. I am back with this video where I will speak about the equinox occurring September 22nd, 2022. And why am I not saying fall or spring equinox is because it is both. It is the fall equinox and it is the spring equinox, depending on the hemisphere of the earth where you are, right? If you are in the northern hemisphere, it is the fall equinox. If you are in the southern hemisphere, it is the spring equinox. And what is the equinox after all? It is the day of the year, one of the days of the years, because there are two, right? One in March and this one in September, where the night and the day are equal, are 12 hours exactly each. So we experience the same amount of day hours and night hours. And this is due to the fact that the Earth has the rotation axis exactly perpendicular to the sun rays. Why? Because the Earth is showing directly the equator to the sun. So at that time of the year, the equator coincides with the ecliptic. So so we will discuss the chart, the astrological chart for the equinox. But before we do that, I would like to show you my contact information. I am on social media. And here you also have the PayPal link and as well as my email address. So if you need to contact me for a reading or any kind of question of consultation, don't hesitate to email me. And if you like to make a donation for my work here, you are welcome to do so. Also, I teach a complete course on astrology. And if you haven't tried it yet, you can have the first class free of charge. You can order if you're interested. I will send you the link. It's a private link to the first class, which is the introduction and the first part of the course. And if you like my teaching style, you can order the complete course. So there are 24 sessions and 1 hour every month for personal questions with me. So you have 1 hour a month to ask all your questions regarding the classes. And the main thing in this course is not only do I teach you the elements of the astrology, but I teach you how to read them in the chart, which very few teachers do. So the way to interpret those elements in the chart, you need to have also synthetic approach to synthesize all the elements and come up with a theme, right? So that's what I teach you in my course. So without any more comments, I will share the equinox chart with you so I can explain what is going to happen for the next 3 months, right? And in fact, what is going to happen until the next equinox happens in 6 months. So this is the chart, and here we have the sun at 0 Libra. So the sun is highlighting relationships, and not only that, but relationships where people make an equal balanced give and take, right? So and what is interesting is that is conjunct Mercury. Mercury is in front of the sun. Now there is an inferior conjunction, right? So Mercury is Kazemi that day, meaning that is invisible. It's impossible to see it because it is in front, crossing in front of the sun from our Earth's perspective. And what happening is that the mind is not only retrograde, but is also Mercury is also invisible. So this makes for a Mercury who needs a lot of concentration and focus in order to not make mistakes and not to miss details. So this is the Mercury that would like to make conversations about relationships and about equal exchanges and balance, interests. However, well, it may miss details. So it requires triple effort to achieve anything. And in order to prepare this video, I had to make notes and review them and recheck them in order to, especially because my chart is ruled by Mercury as well. So I may probably make mistakes. So if I do, don't hesitate to point them out and I will clarify for you. But so the sun and Mercury are trying to make conversations balanced. And as I said, we may take a lot of effort, mental and intellectual efforts in order to achieve those. And they will not come immediately, not in the next 3 months. And we have an interesting configuration because we have Mercury in the sign of Venus and Venus in the sign home of Mercury. So it seems like they are helping each other. This is a correspondence that help each other because Venus is looking for Mercury's interests, right? And Mercury is also looking for Venus interests. However, there is a caveat here that we need to be aware that the ruler of this sun and this Mercury is Venus, and its opposite Neptune. Neptune in the third decan is very emotionally aggressive, right? And so fantasies can go haywire, and imagination goes out of the limit. It's good for inspiration, and all such things. But in opposition, Venus, Neptune, well, we need to be very, very careful because we may have unrealistic expectations. We may have very fantastic possibilities shown to us, like it's too good to be true. So be careful with your money, with your bank accounts, with scams that you may be offered a super great deal, right? Either in relationships or in finances. So this, in fact, is not very good for the economy. In general, globally, we have problems because Venus rules, not only does she rule Libra, but also Taurus, where the North Node is. So well, we have here two different factors to consider. Venus, there is a profound, there's an opportunity for a profound transformation, because it is applying to the trine to Pluto. But at the same time, it could be, as I said, unrealistic because of the opposition with Neptune. So first we have this opposition, and then we have the trine to Pluto. So maybe that works well, but be careful with the inspirations, intuition. The intuition may be misleading, especially in money matters and relationship matters. But as I said, this is kind of a controversial Venus, because ruling the North Node, it may be misleading us into the future, into our goals and our desires, especially in the area of resources and distribution of resources, distribution of materials, supplies, and food. Remember that Venus, as a ruler of Taurus, represents food. Anything that is required for the maintenance of life. So it could be human life, but it could also be the life of life in general, you know. So what happens is that this Venus is not only trying to find all the details and trying to adjust and balance everything that is not doing well, right? Virgo is the sign of things that need to be repaired. But she is in opposition to her favorite house, I would say, which is Pisces, and opposing Neptune in the decan of Pluto, and also about to trine Pluto. So here we have a dynamic that may have its, you know, adjustments to be made. So we are definitely working on finances, banking, anything that has to do with money. So there could be also, it rules this Uranus at 18 degrees, the degree of Virgo again. So this is kind of a correspondence as well with the Venus in Virgo, that we are working out things. We are having innovative ideas about things that are not working well. And as I mentioned before in other videos, Uranus will be planted at 18 degrees for a long time, almost 2 months. So this is really, and it's very close to the point where Mars conjoined Uranus as well. So we need to consider in the astrology that this is not a flat map, right? This is a representation of cycles upon cycles upon cycles, because here we're working with cycles for each planet with each of the other planets, right? And we talk about trines and squares, etc., aspects between planets, but we need to consider where the cycle started, right? For each of those combinations, we need to consider where Venus started, for example, the cycle with Pluto. Where did she start the cycle with Neptune, or with Uranus, or with Mars, etc.? And that's the energy that the cycle, the synodic cycle, is carrying over the whole cycle around the zodiac. So it is a complex map, and we need to, it's impossible to describe everything that is the meaning, but trying to synthesize this Sun Ingress in Libra is definitely looking for balance, and balance in treaties, balance in relationships, trying to be equitable with everything that is thought and communicated and done in the areas of including areas of legal matters, because Libra rules legal matters, as well as beauty, right, in art, in expression, in artistic expression. So we're trying here to make also negotiations between, for example, between countries or between different political players in society, right? It's an air sign, a sign of relationships and making links and making equitable exchanges, equal give and take of matters. So here we have also Venus separating from the square to Mars, which has made for a controversy, right? And also the disparity between our desires and our actions, right? So we have, well, those are the main aspects. Venus is applying to the trine with Pluto, and also it is in quincunx to Saturn. So the Saturn is reviewing, right, retrograde, is reviewing the social organization, the social structures that are necessary to be reviewed in society in order to adjust for this North Node in Taurus that is taking us into a different approach to energy, to resources, etc. So because of the last quarter square between Saturn and Uranus, we have this new way of seeing things, and I'm going to talk about this last quarter square in a minute. But first of all, I would like to say about this inconjunct that is separating, but anyways, it's operative because Venus cannot work freely here. We have, it's like two extremes pulling in different directions, but with different flavors, right? Because this air sign doesn't have anything in common with a Virgo sign. Virgo is earth, is a feminine, air, masculine here. And so this is trying to make an adjustment. We need to make adjustments of our desires with the restrictions that we may find in society, right? And in the structures of society that are changing here, and also Venus in Virgo is naturally looking for to repair things that are not working. And as I said, Uranus is also ruled by Venus, and at 18 degrees planted for a couple of months, it is trying to at 18 degrees is the degree of Virgo as well. And there is a little correspondence here because obviously there is a lot that is not working in the distribution of resources and energy, right? Around the world, gas is becoming more expensive. The gas, natural gas, and the gas, the oil, right, which is also a resource from the earth, and electricity, Uranus. So there is this codependence that was acquired, let's say, and was exaggerated to a toxic level with the globalization, right? Because the cycle of Saturn and Uranus started in Sagittarius and triggered the globalization. So this codependence has reached a toxic point where we have been depending for energy, depending on countries that are now demonstrating they are not friendly between them. So and not only energy, but also codependence of food. For example, wheat and corn and soy and all those products that were produced by Russia and Ukraine are now, of course, blocked. So this dependence on countries that are not reliable, of course, creates a crisis. And this is what the Saturn is showing to Uranus. We cannot continue with this globalization. It has already reached the maximum potential when there was the opposition between Saturn and Uranus. Now it has gone astray. It has gone out of the limits, let's say, and it's not working anymore. If you think about the energy crisis that the whole world is going through, of course, it affects the distribution of supplies of food and resources, all kinds. Because transportation has become so expensive. That's only one of the factors, right? But there are many other factors. But Scorpio is the sign where the South Node is located, is the sign of toxicity, elimination of toxic matters, or elimination of those things that are not useful anymore and that we need to get rid of. So we need, if in your personal life there is something or some way of doing things in the house occupied by Scorpio that you need to leave behind, that you need to abandon those toxic things. If it is your third house, for example, you need to stop fighting with your siblings or your neighbors, right? If it is your fifth house, then there is something that in the attitude you have towards your children, for example, or your creativity, that you need to leave behind in order to flourish, in order to have a good relationship with your children, or in order to be more creative, and so on. So as I said, remember that this last quarter square is building up again, and it will be almost perfect by 36 minutes of orb on the 6th and 7th of October, depending on where you live in the world. And it will be, let me check my notes here. the fourth time the square is happening. The first time was in February 2021, and both planets were direct there. So they were both clashing with full force. Now, in June, Saturn was retrograde and Uranus was direct. So Saturn was acting like a little bit like Uranus in the way that Saturn retrograde relaxes the blockages, the limitations, and the the traditions, etc. So that way, Uranus had its way on more liberation, more originality, if you want. Then December 2021, Saturn was direct and Uranus was retrograde. And what happened back then is that Uranus was reviewing her independence wishes, right? And Saturn was saying, no, these are the structures that we need now in society or in the house where you will have Aquarius and Saturn transiting. So these are the rules that we need to follow. And Uranus was, okay, let me see how far can I go in my independence and my innovation, right? But now, the last time they do this square, they are both retrograde. So they are, I think they are corresponding each other because Saturn has this rules relaxation and Uranus is saying, okay, well, I need to review these desires for breaking with the past and innovate and eccentricity. I need to temper that and see how it works, right? So they are both in reflective mode. So it's going to be a very interesting period. It's building up to the, as I said, 6 or 7 of October, but in fact, it will last until the beginning of November for another month. Because as they go retrograde, they are so slow in the movement and they will stay in orb for some time more. So this is the features, the main features of the chart. I think I covered them all. The moon is in Leo, but even though it is in Leo and happy-go-lucky, but it is in conjunct Pluto and separating from the opposition to Saturn. So it's not so happy there. So emotionally, it would be kind of a roller coaster, if you wish. So thank you for watching, and I hope this helps your perspective on the next 3 months or so. If you would like a consultation with me, don't hesitate to email me, and I wait for your comments below. Thank you for subscribing and giving the video a thumbs up and liking, thank you for all that you do for astrology and for your support. And I'll see you in the next video.